Kia ora team, welcome back to the RX Debrief, the unfiltered, no bullshit look on the fitness industry. Bit of a switch up today. Levi's gallivanting in the South Island somewhere, so he's ditched us and we brought on episode 1 guest, the Chief. So here we go.
Here he is.
How are we feeling?
Rocking on, man, rocking on.
Yeah?
Feeling good, yeah, feeling good. We got rid of the other fella because he couldn't do an intro properly. So
That's last week, eh?
Had to replace him. But question for you guys.
Yep.
I think I asked this last week. What do you guys have for breakfast?
Go Momo.
I had the standard Mo overnight oats. And you?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, my standard still 6 eggs,
Boiled.
hard boiled, right? But
Bomb
I'm
that
actually
toilet.
I'm actually trying to. I actually got decaffeinated coffee. 'Cause
Nice.
I'm trying to limit the amount of caffeine I have, because otherwise I'll just smack back like three
coffees.
Yeah, in the morning. Like I don't know, you just empty one.
With your
and then I'm
6
just like,
eggs.
hey, with my 6 eggs. With my 6 eggs. What about you, bro?
Well, first I've got to plug this. So
Here we
you can
go
see
with
it,
the plug.
Dose & Co. So one of the brothers at the gym, Ryan Matthews, this is his brand. So he gave me this. This is vanilla collagen creamer. So this is meant to be the most epic stuff. So I had this with my coffee this morning, not decaffeinated, caffeinated coffee. So I had that with my smoothie. So I had that today. But the question I need to ask is why is Auntie Mo and I on boxes and you've got the nice comfy chair today?
Exactly.
What's up with that, bro?
Oh, just been a bit of a coddle, really.
Whatever.
I hurt my back, but I'm still here. I'm still ready to go.
My back's sore from carrying you, bro.
Yeah, I had to carry the little kettlebells and mate to carry the big box. I was like, oh, shit.
No, but yeah, anyways, how's the week been? Good?
Man, I tell you what, I watched the... on Saturday, we went up to Beauty and the Beast, right?
Yeah.
We watched our teams and all the other teams who went up there in CrossFit Whangarei. Shout out, man. You guys put on an epic comp.
Epic
That
comp.
was awesome.
And it's actually a nice little tie-in because the guy that programmed for it, Callum, he's actually our guest today. So
Epic.
it's like a little bit of a cool thing. But when I came back, I managed to catch the start of the Indigenous All-Stars Rugby League game.
Oh my God.
Flipped me out, dude. Like, unbelievable.
That
And
gave me goosebumps.
Yeah,
That both
100%.
huckers were inspiring, and like that literally is the highlight of my week. Is I keep watching that video and over again. That hucker was fierce and strong, and going back to Mads's episode about where we come from and being proud of it. That, like, they showed that on another level.
Handy. Like when I saw Latrell Mitchell, like I've been watching Latrell Mitchell sort of off season as he's going to be signed by the Roosters and the Souths and the NRL, and I was like, man, this guy's like a little bit of a douchebag. But then I saw how much pride he had in his jersey and his people, and like he was crying when he was doing his, his thing out there, and I was just like, man, that dude just got my respect hard. And then I watched that game, like the hits and how much pride each team had in their jerseys and each respect at the end of it. That was pretty epic. So I was pretty stoked. What about you, bro?
Man, I went to 660 and got drunk.
That's why his back's sore. That's why. Hey.
I say it was because of training, but really I had 2 people on my back.
Bloody hell.
Handy. Yeah, but like how crazy was that Israel Adesanya came out?
Yeah.
That was
And
so
jammed
mean.
out.
Yeah. Like 660 was sick for anybody who was there. I mean, it was unreal. Like doing Don't Forget Your Roots. Halfway that they just started singing it in Māori.
That's my
Kapa Haka
favourite
group
one.
came out, and then they started doing their thing. Yeah, and then at the end they sung The Greatest, and Adesanya came out, and I was like, man, this is awesome. Like,
Anyone that
so
was
cool.
there, like, even though I'm FOMO that I wasn't there, and I hope that it rained. But seeing the everyone's stories of that was pretty epic, and you were part of history. Like,
Yeah, that
for
was dude.
Izzy to be there and come out when they were playing that song,
Yeah.
game changer.
Yeah, I know.
And then UFC on Sunday, and the boys represented, and I
Oh,
love how
yeah.
they're going around like protect our land. This is our land,
Yeah.
protect it. Like they came out like fire.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you got to be like God to beat these dudes because nothing's going to stop them.
City kickboxing, eh? Those
Oh,
boys,
unreal. Like they're like stratosphere stuff now.
Yeah.
And still super, super humble.
yeah.
Like, bro, that's epic.
Yeah. NZ all day.
NZ all day, man.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is that we're going to introduce our guest today. So we have the brother Callum Gifford. All right. So if you don't know who Callum Gifford is is the owner of Renegade Performance, which is a CrossFit programming kind of like center,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
So he's also a coach at East Tamaki CrossFit, basically the legends. They've been to the games. His lovely wife is on the pathway to going to Tokyo for the Olympics for weightlifting. So she's in the process. She's actually going to Australia now. So he's coaching her with that. He's a super nice guy, humble as. He's got the beard of ZZ Top. He's bald like a bowling ball. So give it up for the mighty Callum Gifford.
Yeah.
Come in, brother.
Welcome, bro.
Welcome.
Fist pumps
Eesh.
all
Fist
round.
pumps.
Welcome, bro. Welcome to the RX Debrief.
Thank you.
How you
You go.
feeling, bro?
A little bit nervous, but good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
you'll be
good.
right.
Good.
So I want to ask a quick question. Is it a rite of passage to need hip surgery when you reach a certain age? Because both of you guys have got have had your hips done just recently,
That's because we're carrying you on our backs, bro.
carrying the younger generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. So you've had a hip replacement too, or not hip replacement?
Actually, it's funny you say that because everyone that either mentions it or has been asked about it or asked about it, when I'm not involved, say it's a hip, or
Yeah.
said it's a hip replacement. So,
Yeah.
oh, you're too young for a hip replacement. It's not actually a hip replacement.
Yeah. Oh, sweet
Everyone
as.
out there.
Yeah.
Nah, epic.
So one of the things I want to kind of talk about, right? So we want to talk about the art of programming and coaching, but I want to get your idea of the difference between coaching and programming. Because for me, they're really fundamentally different, right? Because you can be a great coach, but I think you have to be even a better programmer to be a great coach. So what are your definitions between the two, and how do you link with them?
Well,
Mean.
okay, that's a good question. So I don't think I'm a great coach. I think I'm far better at programming
Humble.
than I am at coaching. Megan, so my wife Megan and Zach, who's my business partner, they're both far better coaches than I am. So I think being a programmer is obviously giving someone a roadmap of the direction that you want them to take, and being a coach is being able to help them implement the roadmap or the direction that you're giving them. So I'm pretty good from the programming side of things, but those guys are far better coaches than I am. Like, if someone wants to come in for technical stuff, I'll always pass it on to Megan or pass it on to Megan for that reason. So
Epic.
yeah.
So how did you get into programming? So kind of give us the story about how it all started for you.
As in programming wise?
Yeah, like kind of get
so,
into this fitness world.
I studied at uni in Waikato. I did 2 years of a certificate in sport and exercise science, and I did 2 years of a degree. I finished my degree, did postgrad diploma, honours, and first year masters. And I've always had a big interest in strength and conditioning, and just helping people get better. My interest came from me wanting to become the best athlete that I could be, and that's why I studied in the first place. I had no real interest at the time in helping other people. It was literally for selfish reasons. And then over time, my time at uni, I had the fortunate experience of coming across Nick Gill, who was at the time the head strength and conditioning coach for the Chiefs, and soon to be All Black strength and conditioning coach. And he was a big, whether he knows it or not, he was a big influence in the way that I wanted to do things and stuff. When he spoke, I listened every single time. He was the man. So he kind of indirectly and without even knowing set me on this path of. Originally, I wanted to do work with rugby.
Yeah.
Because there's money in rugby in New Zealand.
Yeah.
That didn't eventuate, obviously, but I still had the love for strength and conditioning. So as soon as I finished at uni, I became a PT at the gym that I'm at now, which was body business at the time, and that just morphed into CrossFit East Tamaki, and Renegade Performance came from that. So
Epic.
yeah,
Sick, man,
That's
sick. So when you did, do you actually remember the very first thing you ever programmed? Like when it came through the CrossFit arena, do you remember maybe even like the first thing you ever did?
not off the top of my head. When I first started, I wrote all my own workouts, and this, like, I would program it, as everyone did when they got into it in 2012 and 13, watch Rich Froning and Dan Bailey do 9 workouts a day. So I was like, that's how you have to train. So I just write out workout after workout after workout. No structure. I had no idea what I was doing with it. Like I just went like a bull at a gate. And I did a lot of that for a long time, and then I needed extra help, so I started getting programming like I would give someone now. Raw Strength and Conditioning in Aussie. I was with them for a little while. And eventually I got to the point where I was like, I can do this myself. Like I know I've got my study, I've got the knowledge, I can put it into practice and put it on paper in my own way. So in answer to your question, no, but like I've been doing it for a long time and just jotting down bits and pieces and stuff like that.
Taking notes from everywhere, right?
Yeah, pretty much. That's how I get inspiration for programming as well, is just looking at what other people are doing. And
So like one of the things I really enjoyed, so Mo and I went out and met you and your team on Monday, and we got to kind of experience a little bit about what you did. And one of the things I really noticed was that whenever you spoke, your team really engaged with you. Like there was like an almost like a mana respect, as soon as Callum spoke, we listened, even if they had all the gear.
I've
Rachel,
yelled at them a lot.
yeah, right, yeah. So,
No.
so one of the things I want to talk about, like, is from Renegade Performance and as a programmer, how do you communicate your things to your offsite people? Because at the moment, like we saw, like one-to-one, like on the floor, but you've got all these affiliates.
Yeah.
So how do you go about
That's
doing
actually a
that?
good question, and that's one of the things that I struggle with is keeping in contact with everyone. So for anyone that's watching, that's that I haven't contacted in a couple of days, getting to it, or in a couple of weeks, I find that really, really tough.
Yeah.
I try. I've got an affiliate group, and I will write. I actually wrote a message the other day in the affiliate group saying, "Guys, how's programming been? Give me some feedback." And then 3 hours later, no one had responded. I said that went well, so I try. So I'd like to do more stuff where I individually catch up with all the affiliates that I program for. Individual athletes, I will either just send them a messenger. Most of them are pretty good. Like they're all pretty self-sufficient. There are people that I work with more than others. Like I spend a bit more time on than others. But yeah, like that's the one thing that I wish I did more and I had more time for. But at the moment, it's like I am getting help with the programming side of things. So hopefully that frees up time, and that's what I want the time for, is to be in contact with these guys a little bit more often. Because it's hard, like they plug in their numbers or whatever, and some don't even do that. But if I don't know, and the thing with online coaching is some people need direct feedback instantly, and you can't give them that if you're not available to be able to give them that. So if they message me and go, I can't do this, and I don't get back to them for 3 hours, then I don't know what they've done in their session. Yeah. I can't see them. I can't see how they move. Most of them, I've got a good idea of how they move and their capacity and what they can lift on a barbell and stuff. So I do the best job I can with that, but more contact would be supreme. Yeah. Like,
are you the only one programming, or do you have some people helping you? We were talking before, and it sounds like a lot of work if you have to do it by yourself.
Yes. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, okay. So,
yeah, so up until now, it's mainly just me. Me's had a few clients as well.
Yeah.
But as she's getting closer and closer to Tokyo, I've tried to take as much work away from her as I can.
Yeah.
To give her a bit of time, give her just more time to recover and train and blah, blah, blah. But I've got a new guy on, Craig Lawless. He's from Ireland. He's done a lot of coaching over there. Actually, he's been in the fitness industry for a long time, so he's actually starting to help me out with a bunch of clients.
Nice,
He's a really, really good dude.
Yeah.
I don't know how his visa's going to go and how long he's going to be here for, but if he could be here long term, Craig, that would be fantastic.
New Zealand immigration, sort it out. Sort it out.
Yeah. So.
Hey, I just want to touch on something. Why Renegade? Like the name.
When I first started, I wanted like an outlaw name, so I just typed in outlaw and that's the first thing that popped up. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Renegade. So I just
you look like it with your beard.
Yeah. So that morphed in. The first logo we had was like a skull and two guns and stuff like that. And I was like, I kept it for a little while because we just did like strength and conditioning programming at the gym, and it was just within the gym, and that kind of morphed into Zach and I, when we opened CrossFit East Tamaki, we registered our business as Renegade Strength and Conditioning, and it's just kind of just rolled on from there. But we used to have, I mentioned this to you guys the other day, we used to, with Renegade, we'd do strength and conditioning, or strength work during the week, and then on the Saturday we'd do like a CrossFit. It wasn't obviously CrossFit
Fit
class,
class,
but we called it the Saturday CrossFit Crew, SCC. So, but that kind of got the ball rolling, and we were like, well, there's a bit of a market here, or a community that we can build around this for a CrossFit gym, and that's how CrossFit East Tamaki started, and then Renegade was kind of always in the background, and then when I started programming, that was how that name came about. It was already there, ready to go, so yeah, it's pretty
That's
cool.
epic.
So give us a rundown on your week from a programming point of view. We talked a little bit about that before, but kind of explain to the people watching and listening, what does that entail and how much time is actually put into it? Because people just think that we write shit up on a board, right, and go, fuck, this is it. It's real easy.
Oh, absolutely.
It's super not. So can you explain it?
Someone, one of our members came into our gym last year, maybe the year before, and I said, she asked if I was coaching. I said, no, I'm too busy. She said, what do you got on? You just coach? And I'm like, if only. So I write in an affiliate program that goes out. I write the Renegade program, which is the main program that I write, and then I take that program and I modify it for individual athletes based on what they need in their program. So I got a bit of I'm a creature of habit, and I like to have routine, every single day if I can. Causes a bit of anxiety at times, but so I'll write individual programs from Monday to Thursday. Thursday and Friday, I'll sit down in front of my laptop and I'll write the main Renegade program, which is the bulk of everything that spawns. Well, everything spawns from that one program. And then over the weekend, I'll write the affiliate program. So it's just constantly it's never ending. It's just revolving.
Yeah.
It goes the same way each week. I'll try and do that. So this is what causes me a bit of grief, anxiety-wise, because if I haven't done everything by Thursday, and there are times when I'm still writing individual programs by Friday, I'm like, oh shit, when the fuck am I going to get to do the rest of the program? So that will either lead to me staying up late on a Friday, which doesn't usually happen because at the end of the week I'm pretty toast, or me working all weekend, which Megan's not ever super stoked about. So it's a fine balancing act, and I try to make sure that everything gets done on a time frame every week to.
So how many affiliates and how many individuals?
I've got between 20 and 30 affiliates and about 30 individual athletes. Yeah, and I
That's a me
would
mahi.
like to cap it there.
Yeah, and is that like just
but now
New
that
Zealand?
Craig's on board, bang, we can actually start opening up again. No, I've got a couple in Australia. I've got a couple of I've got maybe three or four affiliates in Australia. I train for a group in Singapore. Their girl Landy has qualified for the games 2 years in a row. So,
wow.
So
Congrats.
she's a good athlete, and I program for their comp guys. So that's kind of just happened because of that. So she gets a little bit different programming for obviously CrossFit Games. I've got a gym in the Netherlands that I program for as well, which is pretty cool. And I think that's it. The individual athletes in Australia are all of them have qualified for the ACC or the Down Under, which is really cool as well. So.
Do you feel like pressure because you're programming
heaps.
like you're programming the guys that are competing against the Matt Frasers and the Tia Claires, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I remember when I've had a few over the years. I've had a few really good athletes, like top athletes in New Zealand that have either jumped on or jumped off the program. So like James Connew, for example, or Bailey Rogers and these guys. So when they jump on, I'm like, I really got to get this right because they're doing it to get to these big events. So if I mess it up, then I mess them up, and that is pressure. So like I said, no one's getting paid for this, but you put a lot of time into training and the time to get to these events. So you want them to make sure that they've got the tools that they need necessary to get there and actually compete. Otherwise, you know.
You are. You're road. What is it? Did you say before? You're making
Road
a
map.
map for. Yeah, you're making that, and then you're giving them the right tools.
Yeah.
That's epic.
What would you say your style would be?
For programming, it's a good question. I thought about this after you asked it the other day when you came out. The sport side of CrossFit requires people generally, like there's a few longer events, but at sanctioned events and stuff, that's maybe 1 out of 8 for the weekend or 7 for the weekend. The sport requires athletes to be able to work at their lactate threshold or their threshold for 8 to 12 minutes. So all of my programming is based around making sure that these guys can do that. Obviously, we want some base work in there, but anyone that's been on Renegade for a while will know that I do a lot of interval work, and that's the reason why, is I want people to be able to work at 80 to 85% for 12 minutes, not 70% or 65% for 20 minutes. Like I want them to be able to get into a workout that's, 12 to 15 minutes long and be able to hit their threshold and be able to work at that threshold or through that pain for that amount of time. So I guess that is probably the predominant thing that people would see pop up constantly in the programming, is I want people to be able to, there's a place, and you need to, the way the CrossFit season's evolved and changed, it's changed up the way I program a lot. Typically and traditionally, you'd periodize it, so you'd do your strength building and your aerobic base work at the beginning of the year, and then you get more specific as you head into the comps. Now we can't really do that, so we've got to make sure that people are ready to do a comp whenever they want to do it, whether that be New Zealand Nationals, Team Nationals, the 2 sanctioned events that we've got in this area. I've got a couple of people that are competing at the Asian CrossFit Champs as well, if they even have it. So these guys all need to be ready to pull the trigger at these comps. So the days of programming for CrossFit where, and all the individual athletes that made it to the games that wanted to go back again and qualify through the Open, they didn't have an off season. They were literally just dropping the hammer the whole way through the year. So I think that most of these guys that have qualified are going to have a good break leading into the games now, but it does make it a little bit more difficult to. That's a big segue from your question, but that makes it really difficult to program specifically to get people stronger, or to get people a good aerobic base, or to get them ready for a comp. It kind of all needs to be one big ball now. It's
hard, man. It's challenging. So how do you?
It is challenging.
How do you? What season do you go by? Like, do you focus on as people leading up to sanctionals or games?
Nah. Chief and I talked about this earlier in the week. With his program, and you say that you program for the New Zealand season. I guess in a way I would as well.
Yep.
Because the qualifiers for nationals and the second sanction event, which is a Down Under CrossFit Champs, fall around the same time. So, if people want to qualify for nationals that have been training on the program, they'll be fit and ready to go for that. Yeah. So, and to be fair, like of this many people I've got on the program, only this many make it to sanctioned events. So, I need to program for what the bulk of the people are going to do on the program, which is our season. Our season.
New Zealand season. Yeah.
Is it hard because just having the average person just wanting to perform well and on your program but not go to the games, is it hard to communicate with them when you only deal with top elite athletes? Not really, because I've only got, like I say, the percentage of the people I've got on the program, there's only this many that are okay. I don't want to use the term elite, but elite, they're the top of the top. And the rest of the people are either getting fit for local comps or they just want to be better in general, and they're improving their abilities when they get into the gym and stuff like that, and fitness. That's where the line blurs a wee bit between, as we talked about the other day, programming for an affiliate and programming for competitors. Like, you want the average person, which is a lot of the people on the program, to be good and strong and fit, but you also want them to not have to have hip surgery, and be fit for life, GPP. So there is a little bit of a juggling act there in regards to programming and stuff. But for the people on the main program, no, it's not hard. You just program. I program what I think is going to help them, and then for the guys that are going to sanctionals, I'll just adjust bits and pieces to make sure they're ready to go as well. Must be working though, because damn.
Sometimes.
How long? How many years has it been? I swear it's been is it 5 years that you guys have taken a team to games?
4 years.
Oh, 4 years.
We got 4 years in a row. Yeah.
I always watch it, and I always see you guys.
So
it must be 5 or 6 years.
It's been pretty cool actually. We were pretty fortunate with the first team. I smile because these are some of the best memories that I've had. We were just 6 best friends that were in the gym at the right time, and we're all good enough at fitness to be able to go through the season 2 years in a row and get to the games. We were very, very lucky. The 2 teams after that, the next team, so we took 2 teams that were essentially the same. One team that was completely different. So all 6 members had gone, and we brought in 6 new people. Rachel was in that team, and Kirsten and Harry, their brother. Genetic freaks, all 3 of them. And then the team after that was another team that was completely different again. So that was pretty cool. But they were, we didn't make them up for that because they were all either still at the gym or they were friends of ours and they just hung around and stuff like that. But the first 2 years we went, we just happened to be in the right place at the right time.
Wow.
And that kind of, those kind of friendships and that kind of team is very hard to make. Yeah, it was all organic. Like everything just happened for the right reason at the right time, which is really cool.
How did you feel? Because you guys would have been like little fish in the big pond when you went to the games, right?
Yeah.
And but like,
how did I feel?
Yeah.
Terrified. Terrified. Was there another part to the question?
You go.
So both years we went over there. The first year we went over there, all of us were injured. We did. They released. I think we got there on like the Sunday before, and then on the Monday they released that we were all had to do a mile run relay. So we all thought it would be a good idea to go down to the beach and run a mile as fast as we could, just to see what our times were going to be. This is like 2 days before the game started. No, we'd been there for a little while. Oh no, this is the first year. So we did that down at the beach. None of us warmed up. We just went hammer and tongs at a mile.
Kiwi ingenuity.
Yeah, absolutely. So I pulled my Achilles in that run. So I literally, when we did the mile run, actually at the games in the competition, I had to get carried off the. So that happened to me, and then the next day, stupidly, I was like, "We need to do more running." So this is where the program's evolved. Like I wouldn't in a million years think about doing this now. We went down to the track and we ran 800 repeats. And it was pissing down with rain. Like we had no right to be at the track whatsoever. And I remember either Zach or Richie was like, "Do you think this is a good idea?" No, we'll be sweet. So that ruined us. It ruined the girls. In the first event, we had to do a bunch of worm deadlifts. Megan and Nicola, who were both in the team, both pulled their hamstrings in that event. So we spent the rest of the weekend just like carrying each other into events. Zach, by halfway through the weekend, had done something really bad to his back, so he couldn't lift anything. He clean and jerked less than Brooke Entz did. In the individual women. Yeah, when we had our clean and jerk event, we still give him shit about it to this day.
And now everyone else will as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first year was not fun at all. Like I enjoyed it being over, and the experience of being around those guys was cool, but the whole experience of the games was awful. Like it was actually awful. And the next year we went, we were like children amongst adults over there. And our girls have always been tiny.
Yep.
The next year we went, we trained hard, we were prepared, we just won regionals. And we went over there and just got smashed for 5 days. So I don't know what else we could have done. Like we trained pretty hard, and we went over there a little bit more confident, knowing what we were getting ourselves into. But it seemed like everyone else, as we progressed in the year, they did the same but double what we'd done. So I don't know. But the experience the second year was way more fun. We knew what we were doing. We knew where we were going. Like, there's a whole lot of stuff that comes with going to something like that for the first time. Where you're staying, how far away from the stadium you're staying, just even the route or getting parking at the stadium, knowing where you're going to set up, all that kind of stuff. When you know, when you take all that stuff out of the equation, you don't have to worry about it. You can focus on the competition a little bit more. It makes it a hell of a lot easier to enjoy the experience, you know.
100%. No, that's epic.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Did the timer go off?
Yep.
Ooh, this is my first one.
Yeah,
I didn't do the one on the
lose.
first episode. I watched you guys do it, so I'm kind of a little bit nervous.
So we're just going to do paper, scissors, rock, and then you've got a challenge for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it paper, scissors, rock, shoot, or is it on rock? Like
Paper, scissors, rock.
Oh, right.
Is it going to work with him with his hip?
Don't make me squat.
Or me with my back. You might just do it, mate. Just get it to do
Actually,
something.
Mo, you should do it for
Why?
us. Because I'm old, he's broken.
I bet
Okay,
you
I've actually got a better one. So it was going to be a bottom-up kettlebell, a kettlebell squat overhead, but we'll do a bottom-up hold. And your weak arm on your weak side. You can't obviously fudge the weak side.
Okay.
All right,
Ready?
here we go.
All right,
So it's
ready?
on rock. It's on the 1, 2.
You can even do
These
this.
knuckleheads better
I think he wins because way more jacked than everyone else.
right?
Ready?
Apart from myself.
Paper, scissors, rock.
Scissors, rock. Can
Bang.
you?
Oh, is it? Oh.
Go weak arm.
We can't.
This is what
No,
you get for
Sunshine Coast.
Are we going to go max effort?
Yeah.
We'll go max effort.
30
arm
seconds.
Overhead, one arm overhead. Bottom up. No, it has to be bottom up.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
What?
You might need
Or
to
maybe go to 10.
Hey?
Can you maybe go to 10?
Hang on.
Can you do it?
be all right.
All the ladies at the gym.
Hold that.
Yeah.
Don't do
Have
anything.
you got a timer on?
Ready?
Someone
I want to
does.
set it.
Go. Time on.
You right? He's got it?
Yeah,
That's
done.
all right.
So how do you think CrossFit has
we
evolved?
talk while he does that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
He's gotta
yeah,
stay
he's got to
there.
suffer. So
Let's make
how
that
do you think
conversation real
CrossFit's
long.
evolved? Like, you know, you look at, say, 2015, 2016, 2017, the games, and then 2018 goes to Madison, 2019, bang, they do that big shift, right, from regionals now to sanctionals, and this huge gambit of athletes now going, they've got the cuts. What's your view on it? What's your take, being experienced from what it has been to now taking people to where it is now?
That's a good one.
Suffer.
Struggling.
I'm good.
Is that arm,
50
arm even locked out? I'm not
Fi-
sure
fi-
it's going to make
Hey,
it
do you
for
shave
long.
your armpits? You shave your armpits? You sure?
I'm good.
Okay.
So I lost my train of thought.
The games of
Yeah, it's. I to be honest, when all of that started happening, I was terrified because as someone whose business solely depends on,
Yeah.
well, not solely, but depends on how well the games do and how
Yeah.
much social media attention it gets, and we get a lot of people come in the door for bang. How long?
122.
Not bad.
that's
Not
right.
bad. And how well the games does and
Yeah.
stuff like that, it was a little bit of an unknown. I remember Zach was on holiday at the time when they started announcing the cuts and the changes, and he's like, we need to make sure that we, have a backup plan if this all turns like sour and south and stuff like that. So, and I think now that they've ironed it out, CrossFit's back on social media, which is comforting.
Yeah.
I guess. It looks like, and with the way the new sanctionals are and how many they've got, I think everything's going to be cool. And I think I like the way the format is now because the guys that are making money and have money to be able to travel, like obviously not everyone can do this, can actually make a decent living out of it. Now, I saw on Insta this morning that Morning Chalk Up had released earnings to date from the competition year, and Pat Vellner's made $100,000 so far, which
Wow.
is great. Like
Yeah.
these guys can make a living because they put so much time into it. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
it's cool that they're getting rewarded. I mean, that's nothing compared to an NBA player or a football
Yeah.
player in America, but at least it's something. And
Yeah,
they're only
100%.
swinging kettlebells and shit. So,
Yeah.
which I think is great. So I think the way it is now, it opens up a lot more opportunities for people like Rachel and Kirsten and those guys to be able to compete at these sanctional events. And if they've got the cash and the funding, they can travel a little bit and actually go and get some experience. And, like Marnie just went to Asia and Dubai, and she placed third in
Yeah.
Asia, which is
Epic.
massive.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she made a bit of money out of it, which is great. It's
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
that these guys can put in this kind of time. And getting rewarded for their effort. So as far as that goes, I think it's great. I don't like how many people get to go to the CrossFit Games.
Yeah, right.
Like it's watered down a pretty elite group and a really, really prestigious thing, to the point now where there are a lot of people at the Games that probably don't deserve to be there. I'll probably get a bit of hate for this, but probably from a fitness
All good.
and ability standpoint, when you compare the likes of the people that they're facing, like the Matt Frasers and the Pat Vellners and those guys, then I think there's a big gap from first to last
Yeah.
that should
Yeah.
probably be cut halfway somewhere. I don't know what the better way of doing it would be, and it's not for me to say.
Do you
but
reckon? This is open to all of you. Do you reckon we could do like countries, like the best in New Zealand and then the best in Aussie and the best in America, compete? Like, do you think that would be an option?
Oh, to earn a spot.
Yeah, like how when you earn the Fern, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that could be a possibility?
kind
or-
of how regionals was.
Right.
It was almost that system.
Oh,
Like
okay.
people from New Zealand, Australia, and Asia competed at regionals for their spot. So it would have to be an independent thing run by the countries. But at the same time, it would be CrossFit has the final say
Yeah.
at the end of the day on
Hyundai.
what happens and what doesn't happen.
Interesting, though.
And like I say, we had that system. They were hemorrhaging money and they scrapped it. So
What's
Fair
your
enough.
opinion on that? Because
Yeah.
I think similar to Callum
Yeah.
about it. I mean, I think I talked to you about this a while ago.
Yeah,
But
well,
then you
I'm-
had another point of view.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of in two boats on this one. One of the things I can sort of see CrossFit trying to do is trying to get to the Olympics, right? That's the coup de grace of everything. And one of the aspects that you need at an Olympics is a world champs, a la the CrossFit Games, and you need to have at least something like 65 represented countries there. The old system didn't allow that
Yeah.
because it was based on regions, right? We had South America, and I think America had like 4 regions,
Yeah.
and then you had all the rest of it. So whilst there were different athletes from different regions that didn't fall under the umbrella of a country. So what the current games scenario gives us is an ability to go, hey, we have 89 countries that are now represented at our world champs. That's like a tick off the box to get into the Olympic committee,
Yeah.
right? From that viewpoint. What I don't like is this wild card.
Right.
Hunter McIntyre got in there. So I did obstacle racing for 4 years. He's like a goat of obstacle racing. He's a douchebag.
Is it?
Right? So he came to New Zealand. I trained with him. And I thought he was a really nice guy, but he was a dick.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I'm the man and all the rest of it. And then, for someone like, oh, hey, like this post and get me a wild card. And
Yeah.
then CrossFit goes, okay, here you go. Here's a wild card. Just
Yeah.
because you're a social media personality. I think that's a bit lame.
I really
Yeah.
hope they got rid of that this year. or
Yeah,
I
they-
really
do too, 'cause
I
I
don't
think
think
it's
they'll
like
bring
a-
it back. I'm sure there was a bit of hate for well, there was visible hate for Greg Glassman. And for doing that. So
I think Ben Smith got a wild card, but I kind of do like that because it's Ben Smith and he's the granddad of CrossFit with the games. But the saying that, I just think it just dilutes the kind of the scenario of it. Yeah, it'd be interesting this year. It'll be real interesting.
Yeah. On another note, do you guys think New Zealand CrossFit's on the come up?
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You'll be a part of that. I mean, you're programming and everything.
You're the granddad, man.
Yeah,
I think no, Daz is the granddad. I think the females most definitely, like Marnie and Maddie, and Jamie, and Harriet are all at the pointy end of the spear for sure. I think Kev, James, and Magic were the spearhead of our guys for a little while, of the best of the best, and Luke Fisa, obviously. And I think he'll go really well this year too. I think depth-wise, there might be a bit of a drop-off after that. I'm not... We'll see how the Kiwis go at the ACC. I know there's not a lot of Kiwis that have made it to next weekend on the Gold Coast as individuals. But not a lot of Kiwi guys. I think Marnie and Maddie are both there.
Yeah.
And Harriet.
The girls.
But there'll be a bunch at Down Under, which will be really cool to see how they go. I definitely think we're bridging the gap because for a long time there were like two guys, Kevin and AJ and Muds, a couple of guys that were at that level, and then there was a big gap between the rest. But I think that we're slowly getting better and better and getting closer and closer now, which is really cool to see. I don't even know why they're so freaking good. Like why we're so far behind. It doesn't make any sense. Like
because I was watching when we went to nationals to watch our crew individual. Man, the teens were ridiculous.
The
favorite division to watch.
Yeah, I watched them once, and then I was just like, man, I'm watching them every time. Yeah. And they're just unreal. Like
teens, did you say?
Teens.
Right.
The 15-year-old Māori kid. I don't know his name.
Curtis?
And he got he got a 100-kilo snatch and attempted a 105 and almost got it. And I was like, you're 15.
Cool. Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell?
There's 35 kilos more than mine.
Like, holy shit.
Yeah, Jack, I've got to give him a plug. He's been asking all week for me to. He is my team. Do you guys follow him on Instagram?
Yeah, I saw him at Tutoa.
Yeah, I give him a bit of stick on Insta. Somehow we've formed this unlikely bond of me being almost father figure without his dad being there. Yeah. So he is very, very good, and he's gonna in a couple of years, if he sticks at it, is gonna bridge the gap between Australia and New Zealand. Like he is super, super dedicated. He comes into the gym mostly by himself and just works for 2.5 hours. He'll come into the office and go, what should I do? Should I do this next part? And I'm like, yep. And he'll just turn around and go back out and he'll go and do the work.
How old is
he?
He's 17. He's 17.
Wow.
What a work ethic.
Yeah, it's a good work ethic. He won the Open in the teens division in the world.
Wow.
What's his name, sorry?
Jack Laker.
Jack Laker.
Yeah.
Shout out, buddy.
Shout out, Jack Laker.
Bro.
There you go.
Oh, I think I've seen him on your Instagram.
Yeah,
on your
he's
stories.
He's
always
on the stories all the time. I try. He goes, how come every time I come to the office, you get the camera out? He should qualify, and he's got a chance of winning the games. Like, I think he's good enough to win the games. I probably shouldn't jinx him, but I have told him this. I said, if you keep working the way you are, you will give yourself a chance.
We're backing you, Jack.
He's a home run hitter. He can win events. Like, he'll win a run event. Like, I would back no one else. Or, anything with, like, a high level of gymnastics that's, like, a heap of reps, so big capacity on the rig or the rings or whatever. I'd back him any day of the week. So, and at the games, if you can get 100 points in anything, it's huge. So if he can get over there and get a couple of wins, like I actually think he could. There are a couple of really strong boys in America and South America, I think, but if he can weather the storm of those guys lifting real heavy loads and stuff, he'll smash them to bits in other events. So
because he is going, you said.
No, we've got the online qualifier in 2 weeks. So the next 3 weeks is a real busy time for me. So I got Megan competing in Australia on Saturday in Canberra. Then I fly to Gold Coast on the Wednesday for the ACC, and then I come back, and then it's online qualifiers for her and another one of my athletes as well that weekend. So, and both of them have good shots at going to the games. So.
Oh, well, good luck to him.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
So you just talked about Jack, right? He's got this amazing mindset.
He is an idiot. I just want it to be known. He trains hard, but he's a dick.
Well, but, you know, and I think at that elite level, you kind of have to have like a few screws loose, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But you know, and we talked a little bit about this offline before coming in here. How hard is it to program mindset, right? Because it's you know, and I know in our gym, you know, you get some people that just crumble, and at the end of the day, right, it's just fucking working out, right?
Yeah.
We're just doing some kettlebells and some barbells and some burpees and some.
For sure.
You know, at the end of the 12 minutes, you're going to wake up and still live.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
So how do you communicate that to your peeps, especially in the elite level?
It's hard. Like, I think I'm definitely one for this, and I think this transfers to other people as well. I think you gain confidence through fitness. So the fitter you are, and the more, the harder you've trained, the more confidence you'll get, and that kind of changes your mindset up in a workout.
You mean like condition?
Because of that.
Like
Yeah. The more
fit?
you condition, the more confidence you get in your abilities. The chat in your head is that of pushing forward rather than shying away or negative talk and stuff like that. I don't think it's hard to train or change someone's mentality. I've been butting heads with Megan about this for the last 6 months. Like, she has a quiet confidence. She doesn't let it show. She won't ever say anything. She doesn't get fired up. Whereas I used to compete, and you could tell that I was ready to be on the floor and tear someone's head off, but she's not like that, and I've tried to get her to get a bit more aggression and stuff. So I think everyone's got a different way of channeling their self-talk and being confident in workouts and stuff like that, and having a warrior or a competitor's mindset. I don't think, like I say, I don't think you can change it. I don't think anything that I could physically say to them will change the way they're thinking.
Or how they're talking to themselves.
How they're talking to themselves. They have to do that themselves. But for me personally, like I've said already, if I can make sure that they're fit enough to make their internal talk a little bit more positive and charging rather than like being a pussy or, you know, breaking down in tears midway through a workout, then I think that's going to help heaps with that anyway. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
No, that does.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, I'll use Rachel as an example. She struggles with a heavy barbell. She's getting a lot better at it, but she does struggle with a heavy barbell. When she sees, or when she's got a workout with, you know, an 80 kilo clean in it, which is a really tough load for her, there's nothing I can say to her at that time that's going to change her mindset in that workout. She's already on the back foot because she knows that she's had trouble with that load in the past. So I think the better I can train her to be able to move that load, the more confident she's going to get, and the more that internal talk becomes a little bit better. So,
That sounds like what we were talking about the other day.
There's like a real, you know, one of the things that we've encountered, and Ken and I, we talk about this quite a lot, and Levi, is that, you know, the age-old question, do you concentrate on strength or do you concentrate on fitness? Do you concentrate on movement? Do you concentrate on, you know, your baseline fitness? And we kind of, there's always a cyclic sort of scenario that goes around, especially within our gym, but I don't know about others. My theory is that, and I'm a Ben Bergeron stan, right? So I like whatever he fucking brings out, I'm like going to soak it up.
Yeah, right.
And he talks really, you get fit first, right? You got to get real fit first. And once you get real fit first, your strength comes up.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, you know, you didn't talk to me the other day because I watched you train or program for Megan the other day, and I was like flipping out. She's got an 80 kilo rec bag doing gangster squats and sled pushes and Z presses with more weight than I probably press myself, and you know,
Same.
And
pretty embarrassing.
But you know, but her conditioning is ridiculous. Is that because you follow that same mantra?
Yeah, I've always been, and asking, and going back to your earlier question going back to your earlier question of what is my style of programming. I've always been a massive fan. We had a couple of guys that were in our team, so Richie and Mikey who were in our first two games teams either year. They stopped all of their conditioning to just do strength work for the next season. And I told them I wasn't a big fan. Like, I don't believe in the sport, and so many other coaches have said this as well. It's suicide. Not so much suicide, but it's a dangerous game to play to cut out all of your conditioning to get strong for a number of reasons. One, if you're really fit, I mean, it doesn't take a long time, but it is hard yakka to build your fitness back up to a level where you're confident to actually attack. And as soon as you start doing that, all of the strength you've put on becomes almost obsolete. So I've always been a massive advocate of being like doing concurrent training, so making sure you're doing your strength work and your fitness work at the same time. And if you program it properly, you can get it right where people are still getting stronger and fitter at the same time. There's no reason you can't. And research and science has proven this over the years. So I like Megan's a special case because obviously she's an Olympic lifter. Yeah. But as I said to you the other day, if I can make sure that by lift number 6 on the platform, which is her last clean and jerk, if she's still got the same condition and the same and she still feels as fresh as she was when she started her first snatch, which was 6 lifts ago, then she's going to be in a hell of a lot better chance or position to be able to hit a PB on her last lift, which we need, what she needs. So I think a lot of weightlifters underdo their conditioning and just focus on, and obviously as they get closer to competition, they need to be doing snatches and clean and jerks because that's their sport. But I think over the course of like a 12-week block or a 16-week block before their programming, a bulk of that first part can be doing strength conditioning and strength endurance, moving sandbags, doing heaps of strongman stuff, which is what I've done with Megan, and which is why she's become so strong so quickly when she a year and a half ago was recovering from an ACL tear and a meniscus repair.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
So, I think having strength endurance and strength conditioning, or just conditioning in general, at the same time as you're trying to get stronger is huge.
I reckon it definitely contributes to that mindset, like what you're just saying there. Like, if you're already giving them the tools to make them fitter and stronger, that is already going to change the conversation that you're having in your head,
sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's epic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was impressive to watch her train.
Oh.
We were like fanboying, girling when we were watching her do her stuff because we've watched her for so long on social media.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
I've studied her
The
lifts.
good thing about me, and I'm going to be real biased because she's my wife, but what you see on social media is exactly what you get.
I can vouch for that.
Behind a facade.
Yeah.
She doesn't put anything up there that is not her. It is all her. And she, as far as like training and everything that encompasses the training, no one outworks her.
Yeah. I could see that on Monday, and I was supposed to be doing the workout with you guys, but I was just looking out the roller door. Like, she was pushing like 100 kilo sled push and then coming back in for an 80 kilo sandbag. Like, these guys can't even do those sandbags. I was like,
that is a heavy bag.
with ease too. Like, she was doing it with a smile on
we
her
don't have an 80
face.
kilo sandbag, so
Whatever, Kuddle.
you can come out on Monday with us.
So I bought the sandbag for over Christmas because
that was the Christmas present.
Yeah, I bought it Christmas. I bought it other stuff.
That is a Christmas.
But like I like with her, how strong your posterior chain is off the ground, and also in the cleaners at the bottom of a clean is super important for how the weight feels when you get it up on your shoulders and when you're about to put it overhead. And she struggles with a bit of a dump of the barbell on her shoulders when she does a heavy clean. So she's dropping under the bar way too quick for. She doesn't have great barbell awareness. She's still a bit rough around the edges when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I bought the sandbag with her. I was going to progressively overload it leading into Nauru, which is her last qualifier comp, so that her posterior chain was so strong that no matter how shitty she caught a clean, she could stand it up and still put it over her head.
Yeah.
So, but the problem is, I've put the sandbag up each week heavier and heavier. So we started at about, I think we started about 60 kilos, and it's now up to around about 75, 80 kilos. Which is pretty heavy for a sandbag, but she's been injured twice during that. So every time she comes back to pick the bag up, she can't lift the damn thing because I've like kept overloading the weight, and then she keeps having to start all over again. So my progressive overload with the sandbag isn't really working. She's just having to lift a real heavy sandbag every time she picks it up. So
damn. Shut up, Megan.
I mean, she trains by herself most of the time.
Oh, yeah.
You saw her the other day. I said to her that I would train with her all the way up until Nauru for a qualifier, so she had someone to do it with. But if I'm not all in on those sessions, that stuff's super heavy, and I can't do the weight that she's doing.
Is she stronger than you?
Olympic lifting at the moment, yes, definitely. But I'm coming back from hip surgery. So
Fair enough.
But I can lift the sandbag way easier, so 50-50. But yeah, she lifts more than me. It's a joke. She lifts more than any guy in a freaking gym.
Yeah. But yeah, watching her work out by herself, like, I mean, she'll outwork anyone. I could tell.
It's everything. It's her recovery. It's making sure she counts her macros of everything. She's always on MyFitnessPal plugging in her meals.
Yeah.
She'll spend half an hour before her session and half an hour after her session with her gun, making sure that she's mobile. She's in bed by 9 o'clock every single night with the light out, which is like all of the stuff,
All the
Damn,
limits,
those are the
Yeah.
one
The
percenters.
The only piece of the puzzle that's missing for her, but I've had to be on her case for a long time
Right.
because of this, and we've had many an argument. But the one piece of the puzzle that's missing for her at the moment is she still works. So she went to this workshop a couple of weeks ago with all the other Olympic athletes. They have to do. There's 3 of them that all of these guys that are on the long list can choose from. So she went to the first one. And some of the other athletes there, I think they were hockey girls and maybe some rowers or something. They couldn't believe that she still worked.
Yeah.
Like at all.
Yeah, so
'Cause they
she's
don't do
working
anything.
and doing
Literally,
all the
yeah.
training and the extras.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and even the weightlifters in our country, the people that are eligible. So I know Cam, Kana, and David are all full-time
Workers.
athletes.
Yeah.
Athletes.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Athletes, yeah. So,
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, because that was pretty trippy because she had just finished, I think, her last sandbag, and about 2 minutes later, she was coaching that lunchtime class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was straight over and was like
Yeah.
giving this amazing brief, and I was like, man, you can switch pretty quick.
Yeah, I've taken a few classes off her this week just so
Yeah.
I could get a bit of rest time
Yeah.
for the weekend. But obviously she still needs to earn a little bit of money. So,
Yeah.
so I can't
Good
pay
luck,
the bills.
Megan.
Yeah, man. she's really
Smash it
doing
over there,
good luck.
sis.
So we're probably ready for the old challenge
What challenge? Hit
for him.
Callum's
Big guy.
challenge.
Sweet as.
Here we go.
Do we get chalk?
No.
Yeah, talk. All
The
right.
old spit.
Yeah.
So what is it? The shoot
Yeah. Shoot to kill.
to kill. I always forget it every
Yeah.
week. Shoot to kill, holding a 16 kilo kettlebell. I think the timer wasn't working when they done mine, but there's all times up there to beat.
Surely I can get 28 seconds.
Right,
Yeah, surely.
Mo's gonna fire us some
Just
questions.
want
at you.
everyone to. Can they zoom in on the guns?
Oh.
Compared to Kenyans.
So we'll, Mo's
just
gonna
full
fire
of
out some
air.
questions.
Your guns are full of air.
I
Yeah.
think they are. I think they are, really. All right, so let's grab.
The
Yeah,
16.
Am I getting up?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Alright,
Yeah,
so come
right
on.
in the
Over
middle.
here.
Mo's
I'm gonna fire some quick fire questions for you.
At me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I make this
Yeah,
go up?
yeah, yeah. Just lift it up.
This is good. We'll stand over here, bro.
Facing the camera? Facing
Yeah.
away? Do I
Yeah.
face the camera?
Yeah.
It's a face the camera, bro.
Who's got the timer?
Hang on, I'll do it.
Yep.
Hang on.
Can I see the timer? Can you put it there so I can see it, please?
Oh.
Official.
Diva here.
1, here we go.
Callum. Auckland or Taranaki?
Oh, Taranaki.
150 burpees or 150 wall balls?
All burpees.
Spates or Steinlager?
Oh, come on.
Wow. Sign like it.
Good boy.
Biggie or Tupac?
Ooh, that's a tough question actually. Tupac?
Wu-Tang or NWA?
NWA.
Rugby or league?
Rugby.
Batman or Superman?
Superman.
Tyson or Ali?
Ali.
Lion or wolf?
30 seconds in.
Lion.
Fran or Cindy?
Cindy.
Ooh. Tia or Jamie?
Jamie.
Peanut butter or Nutella?
Peanut butter.
Deadlift or thruster?
Oh, I'm a shit deadlift.
Ready now.
Ben Bergeron or Chris Earnshaw? There we go.
58 seconds.
58 seconds.
New winner. Shot, bro. Out of breath.
Good questions, guys.
Yeah, those were good. You were a bit. Yeah.
Good questions.
Just real quickly before we
good
end, 3 favorite all-time CrossFit workouts.
Can I give you my most hated?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go
or
on.
that too.
Murph at the games in 2016. We had to do. Did you guys
Yeah.
see that? Do you know what
Yeah.
it was?
Yeah. Is this, you say 2015? So the
2016.
2016. No,
Oh,
this
so
is
the
when we had the
partition
vest
one.
on.
Yeah.
We
Is
did
it-
team one. We had to do a litter carry
Yeah.
with one
Oh.
teammate. Oh man, hold it.
And
we
you're going
had
to see
do
this on the Renegade Performance affiliate program this week.
yeah. A litter carry, a mile litter carry with one person on the litter, 4 people carrying, and 1 person running beside. You had to swap in and out.
Damn.
And you had to change every 400, I think, into 100. Yeah, 100 worm shoulder overheads, 300 chest to bars, 100 worm squats, and then a litter carry to finish. It was it is to this day, and it probably will be till I die, the worst workout I've ever done. Like, it was
Wow.
awful. So that was pretty bad. Probably some of my favourites are just ones that we've done at regionals as a team before. I don't have any specific off the top
Yeah.
of my head, but
Yep.
yeah, we did some cool workouts at regionals over the years, which is really cool.
Sweet.
I reckon you guys will
Side of
program
breath.
some good ones in the near future.
I
You know what I mean?
my all-time favorite is Linda.
Oh, yeah, Linda is
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, I love.
What's that one?
When I was stronger, that would have been a favourite. But
That deadlift, bench, and clean.
This is a decent soul set.
10 to 1.
Hey.
yeah, it is.
And then
you're
you
not
got
swole.
is it the iron triathlon? It's 20 down to 1.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a long
that's
time.
even better. Yeah.
Mean.
Have you done that?
No, I haven't. I would like to. Maybe when we got our hips better, we can.
We
we can do it at scale.
Collab, yeah, sure. Fuck, the deadlift weight would crush me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mate. Yeah,
Absolutely
for
crush
sure.
me.
All right. Well, thank you, Callum, for coming on.
No worries.
Yeah.
Thank you very much
it
for having me.
no, it was awesome. It's good learning how you program and all that kind of stuff. Just story about the games. Have you got any final words? Anything you want to put in?
No, I guess if people want to jump on the program and they're interested in getting work from Renegade, from Craig, myself, or Megan, jump online and flick us a message. Yeah.
Where can they find you, bro?
Instagram, got a handle?
Yeah, I do, but I don't know what it is. I think it's just Renegade Performance.
Yeah,
that
it
what
is.
Yeah,
Renegade
Renegade
Performance.
Performance. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Nah, yeah.
Renegade Performance or Callum Gifford on Facebook Messenger, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
Yep.
Or the
Epic.
Renegade Facebook.
Yeah.
Sweet.
mean.
Oh, well, thank you very much for coming on today. So if you want to watch this again, this is on our Facebook page, the RX Debrief. This should be up on Spotify this coming Sunday by the end of this week also. And our next guest is one of Callum's athletes, Rachel
Yeah.
Palmer. Yeah.
I'm super pumped for that one.
Yeah, that'll be cool. So how she's a competitive swimmer, is that right?
She was an elite collegiate level swimmer.
Yeah.
So she was
Far
big
out,
time.
yeah.
She got a scholarship to go to Arizona. I think she lived in Arizona as a collegiate level swimmer.
Yep.
So,
Awesome.
So she'll win any swim event at any
Yeah,
competition.
yeah.
So
So we'll hear her story and how she's one of New Zealand's best. So it'll be cool to
Yeah.
hear her CrossFit journey.
And we're going to have to do bicep curls before we come in because
Yeah.
she's got bigger guns than us. So
Yeah.
she's jacked.
Epic.
All right. Awesome team. In the middle.
In the middle.
All right.
Shout out
Thank
to
you,
Kill
Callum.
Cliff.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Callum.
Thank you very much.
Cheers,
Thank you
guys.
very
Thank
much.
you.
RX Debrief
Out.
out.
Good stuff.